Hi.
Hi, everyone. As you're all coming in and joining this Zoom session, please remember to mute your microphone so that we avoid the background noise and feedback. And once again, please don't forget that you need to complete the session feedback through the Whova app after the sessions.
Mary, your mic is muted.
Dang. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming to our second session of Can I Talk to You? Our first session was held this past Thursday, and we had wonderful attendance. We also had questions. We ran out of time because there was so much conversation. So this is session number 2. This is an open dialogue. Can I talk to you? What we're going to do is do sort of a recap from Thursday, and our sisters from Howard University are going to help me in the discussion again, and I'm going to hand this over to Angelica so we can start our session. Again, remember to mute your phones, and let's try to ask the questions face to face, because it's kind of hard for us to track your conversation, your questions on the in the chat. And so we want to make sure that we do pay attention and get your input. All right, let's get started. Thank you, ladies.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say thank you for coming out again. I really do appreciate how committed you guys have been to coming. It's really great to see. And I wanted to start again by rereading Mary's poem. So give me a second to bring it up. And it's called From My Heart. And I'm gonna read it. You already heard it, but I just wanted to read it again just to remind you guys the premises of which we're having this conversation from. So it starts from my heart. Ask the hard questions. At the core of everything, we are created in the image of God. Clearly, the God that loves you loves me. What causes you not to reach out to me? Why do you hesitate? Am I invisible? We are women. We love, we cry, we grieve, we hurt, we die, we bear children, we laugh, we are wives, we are mothers, we are educated, we are creative as God is created. We are all works of art, masterpieces. Don't make me feel inferior in my chosen sisterhood. Invite me into your circle, invite me into your conversation, invite me to join you for lunch. Include me too. Just be nice, be intentional, we can learn from each other. I'd love to be able to breathe and exhale while in your company. Can I trust you as my sister? Sister, can I trust you with me? Not just in words, but in deeds? Because actions speak louder than words. That's what I know and trust. So today we're back to having a discussion. We're covering some of the questions that you guys asked before, but we didn't get to. If you have more, you're welcome to say them, but I am asking that you unmute yourself and talk, because I want to hear you all's voices, and we think that's the best way to conduct this conversation. And also, don't be afraid to interrupt me at any time, because I would rather prefer to hear you all talk to myself. So give me a second. I'm going to try to bring up these slides that I had, because I know people said they prefer to see the questions in front of them so they don't forget. Okay, so it's not letting me. LaDacia, are you on the call?
Yeah, I am. I'm gonna see if I can share them from my phone because I'm working from my phone. But give me 1 second.
And this cat still around? Cool.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here, Angelica.
Hi. Do you mind giving co-host abilities to LaDacia so you could share her screen?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, you should be good now, LaDacia.
Okay, so while we're working to bring up the slides, we can still have this conversation anyways. So one thing that I saw somebody put in the question thread right outside of the Zoom was what resources have you used to learn more about anti-racism? And that was asked by Renee Palin. I hope I said your last name correctly. That's a really great idea. I liked all the resources that people gave so far. And I feel like if we could keep that going, you know, even during the school year with group meetings, what have you, that would be a great thing too. And we could all just collect those resources together. But from the questions, I still have them written down on my slides.
I have one. I have one too. There was some sisters were also looking for concrete actions that campuses could take. And so let's start there while we're waiting on the slides to come up.
Okay. So I have my own ideas, but if you guys want to take what we've spoken to you about this whole time and, you know, give your own ideas, I'd love to hear them.
Okay, since we're being bashful, I'm gonna call out names. First name on deck is Mara Yella. What are your thoughts on concrete actions that campuses can take? What are your ideas?
Oh, could you repeat that? Sorry.
What we're asking, what are some concrete actions that you think campuses could take to promote diversity and inclusion within a sorority? What are things that you think that's available in your hand, that's available to you right now?
I mean, honestly, I'm not really sure. I mean, personally, for our sorority and our chapter, we're pretty diverse. It's really like other Greek life like organizations that I've seen that are less diverse, and I'm not really sure what they can do. But like personally for us, we just try to be open and always have like, we advertise to everyone no matter what they look like or where they come from or anything. I'm not sure about anything like concrete to really like cater or like attract anyone else, but yeah.
But actually, Mara, just what you said with the advertising to everyone, that's concrete.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're already on the right track. And you've already said you have a pretty diverse group. And the reason you have a diverse group is because you've chosen to talk to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. I'm just, we're going to start this dialogue. We have to talk. We've got to talk.
Okay.
And I also, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, so at our chapter, we kind of have that issue with other Greek organizations too, but what we tend to do is like, we'll make it a challenge. So you can bring those errors, like if for groups that aren't so diverse, you can bring that to their attention. And sometimes that has to take place on the in Panhellenic meetings. And while that will make some people uncomfortable, it'll force that conversation anyways. So that's something else that you could do.
Yeah, it's just weird because like for us, we're not affiliated with Panhell on our campus. Like we're considered one of like the professional like sororities, fraternities, and not part of like Panhell or IFC. So
So Mara, where are you from? What campus?
Oh, I'm from Vanderbilt, Alpha Eta.
Okay. All right, thank you. That helps.
Mary, this is Rashmi.
Yes, Rashmi, go ahead.
I have a question. I don't know how to answer your question because I'm not in a chapter recruiting, but I actually have a question because I know it was asked before and I don't know how to answer it. I'm going to speak specifically about Purdue. That's where I came from, and I believe even the Purdue chapter asked the question in the past. You ladies pointed out so well last week that Purdue has a population of less than 3% of a Black population, student population, which surprised me that it was so low. My question though is, and the way I've heard it stated is that how does a chapter that is primarily white, how do you show that you're actually welcoming to people of color? And I love the ideas about, you know, inviting people from your classes, you're reaching out, but aside from that, how can you really portray that, yeah, yes, we are all white, we understand that, but we welcome everyone?
One of the things like we discussed last week was looking at the Black fraternities and sororities on your campus and engage with them personally, you know, so when they have events, you know, attend their events and invite them to, you know, to do the cross collaboration. So if you all have an event, invite them. And then when they have an event, you know, make sure you support. And then that way you start those dialogues. I've seen it happen at Ohio State, because, you know, Ohio State's demographics is pretty similar to Purdue. And let's understand we also understand that the demographics for engineering students is small anyway, right? But the bigger population, and, you know, I've seen it work in where they were doing just the crosstalks and doing shared events. I forget what they call them. You know, they have different social events, and, you know, having, you know, like Kappa Alpha Psi be a part of their like one of their social nights, and then a couple of fraternities and sororities, they cross pollinated and attended each other's events. And I think that helps the dialogue, especially when you have populations that are predominantly, you know, majority, right? It takes a little effort, but I've seen the ladies of Beta have a cracking up good time just because they availed themselves to doing something a little bit different. Does that help?
Yeah, I think those are great ideas. Thank you.
It looks like we have the presentation ready.
Yes, we do. So Ladisha,
Okay.
you can go to the next slide. So this kind of feeds into the questions that were already being asked, is what can Phi Sigma Rho do at the national level and the chapter level to keep these conversations going? And to piggyback off of what Mary was saying, we have to keep in mind that this is going to be a long process, because on these campuses where there are a small minority population, keep in mind that they're already trying to navigate these spaces and are probably sticking to themselves. And the first time they see, to be a little bit blunt, the first time they see a white woman approach them talking about, oh, hey, will you come to my event? They're probably going to view that with some caution, but I don't think that it would necessarily mean offense. It's just something that they're not used to. So keeping
Angelica,
in mind that
can I interrupt you for 1 second? It's Christine. I am so sorry. I just wanted to piggyback. I wanted to piggyback off of what Rashmi said. I was in the same class as Rashmi at Purdue, and I just want to say that I know that there were a few sisters who did try to collaborate with one of the Divine Nine. I don't know if it was, I think it was maybe with one of the fraternities with one of their events, and have Phi Sigma Rho's Alpha chapter partner with or participate in one of their events. So I know that they tried that. The problem was there, a lot of the sisters within Phi Sigma Rho really didn't bring the numbers in terms of the sisters of the sorority participating. So if in fact you do have an effort of your chapter partnering with another organization, please make sure that you are supportive and that you participate. If people, stand up and set up activities, then the sorority needs to be, the members need to be supportive and participate. So I do know that it was tried, but again, if we don't have the support of the members within the chapter to participate in activities, then it's not going to do very well. So I didn't want to lose that thought, because I know there were a couple of efforts at Purdue where and it may have also happened at other schools as well. But everybody, and that's what this whole session is all about. The members have to get behind people that are trying to make a difference to make things successful. Thank you, Angelica. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. It was great. So we've been kind of attacking the chapter level for a bit, but it's a national level. I'd love to hear you all's thoughts, and maybe we'll have to randomly pick somebody again, but I'm going to give you all the opportunity to volunteer. No? Okay. We can definitely still pick.
All right, wait, this is Rashmi again. I don't know why no one else is chiming in. I'm trying to be quiet. But can I answer that? Can I just say something to that question that you're posing?
Yes.
I have to, for those who know me, I try to keep it real. And I'm gonna just, when we first talked about the diversity and inclusion chair and a committee, my first thought was, I do not support this if it's just in name only. We have to do something meaningful. There has to be something meaningful behind the title. And what Mary's done and what you ladies at Howard have done to bring this to life is exactly what I was hoping for, more than I was hoping for. But my point that I'm trying to make is, this can't be a one-off. This can't be a once a year thing we do. We can't have a diversity and inclusion session at conference and convention and then go off on our busy lives. This is an important thing to all of us. We as women know what it's like to participate in classes where we're underrepresented. So, I mean, we all feel this in some way. So we need to even expand and understand what all communities are feeling. And so what I want to stress is that I hope that these conversations will be ongoing. I hope that we will have a forum to keep these conversations going. And I hope that people will feel comfortable being honest, and that the people receiving what they're hearing will know that people are saying things with positive intent. So that if I say something that's ignorant, I'll be the first to admit that I'm ignorant, but I'm really not intentionally trying to hurt anyone by what I'm saying. So I think it's got to be a dialogue where people are willing to hear things and just assume positive intent because we're all sisters, and also be able to take feedback. So that would be what I would think we could do on a national level.
No, I agree, Rashmi, because let's be very clear. I don't enjoy my time being wasted. I am very intentional about the conversations and the necessary work, but we can't do it by ourselves. And so that's why I'm being very intentional about drawing people out to participate, because we don't have all the answers, right? This is a platform where we can get to some viable solutions so that all of our sisters can feel included. Because like we stated last week, we're sisters by choice. And because we're sisters by choice, we want to do things better. When you know better, you do better. My whole intent is to have these conversations. We can't get all the questions answered in an hour, but it's going to take some collaborative efforts. It's going to, just like you said, be very transparent in your level of ignorance, right? And let's just learn and grow. And you did that when you first started in your engineering courses. You didn't know everything about thermodynamics, et cetera, when you started the walk of the major, right? So similarly, we want to bring you to a place where we can all collaborate. So when we see each other, no one's feeling isolated, right? Everyone feels included, but that can only happen if we have these necessary discussions. What the ladies from Howard and I have talked about already is that we want to set up some a format by which we can have some dialogues. We'll ask a question and put a question up and make sure we have some dialogue there, because we also understand your students too. We also want to make sure that we establish some committees, because this work just does not sit with Howard University and Mary McWilliams. It just does not. So when we ask for your participation, we're going to ask from all demographics of the sorority. So, stay tuned for that, because we want to have a collaborative effort. Let's see. Yeah, and so we also understood from some of the feedback that we got from Thursday that we wanted, some people asked for a more structured meeting, right? This time that we're having right now. However, in our whole plan was to answer the questions that we received from you on Instagram and have an open dialogue. So everybody just get ready to start talking, because we've still got a whole lot of questions that we didn't get to, and so we can move the needle. Okay, so let's just get comfortable and ask the questions that we need to ask. Does that help, Angelica? I'm gonna hand it off to you.
Yes, it helps. And I see in the chat that Abby and Rashmi are talking about having a Slack or Facebook or an Instagram. And I think that would be a really good start, just because those aren't necessarily like as formal of platforms, and it's really easy to send links, resources, videos in there. So that would be a really good idea. Other things that we could do nationally, I think reaching out to these other organizations like on a national level, that would be really helpful in terms of like either partnering with them for their foundations or their community work and things like that. I think that would be a pretty helpful thing, and then we could carry that on down into the chapter level. Oh, somebody said something. Yay. Anjali, did I say your name right? I hope so.
Yeah, it's Anjali.
Anjali? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Hi.
Hi. Do you mind saying your question out loud?
Oh, I'm sorry. It wasn't really a question, but I was just thinking about how maybe emphasizing diversity and implicit bias training from the get-go when you were establishing colonies across the states, just so like it's not necessarily an issue we're trying to fix, and more of something that's established at the beginning when the chapter's finding their place on campus.
That's definitely a great start, being like proactive instead of reactive. Oh, we got another one. Oh, a lot of people. Okay, wait, can you guys like say these out loud, please? These are really good things that you're saying. Madison?
I'm Haley. I sent the message about my chapter started a diversity and inclusion committee, and we have our first diversity and inclusion chair. I was wondering if any other chapter was doing something like this. I know that I have in the president's group chat it's called like Gavel Club on GroupMe, and it's really a good way for us to like talk about things going on even here or like with our chapters and seeing if, we're doing the same types of things. But I was wondering if any other chapter had this and we could have like a group chat of these chairs or committees, just so that we're also like keeping each other accountable, like how Rashmi said about like this shouldn't just be happening at conference or convention, like should be happening all year type of thing.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to comment here at Purdue, we're actually starting a diversity and inclusion committee this semester. So I think it'd definitely be a good idea to start up a group chat so that we can keep each other informed on our ideas and stuff like that.
I also wanted to add from the Epsilon chapter, the University of Kentucky chapter, that we have a diversity and inclusion chair, and I can get you in contact with her as well.
So I'm part of the Alpha Upsilon chapter at Cleveland State, and we really don't have enough girls to have another director. We barely have enough girls to have enough directors, but I'm leading the diversity presentation in our chapter that we're going to talk about before recruitment. And so I'd love to be added to that group chat too.
Ashley, do you mind if I ask how many girls you all have?
I think right now we have 13 active members with one of them on co-op.
Okay. So speaking from sorry.
Yeah, we just got installed like last March. So we're very, very new, very small.
Got you. Okay, so speaking from another small chapter, we're a total of 9 of us. I understand where you're coming from and how hard this is going to be for you all, but I would just, my honest advice would be to see if everybody could take a little part of the work for themselves and see what you all can come up as a collective, just so nobody, just so you don't stress yourself out as an individual and nobody else has to be too overwhelmed.
Hi, I'm Kirti. I'm from VCU. We also started a diversity and inclusion committee, and they're kind of absorbed into our standards board. So our standards board, our VP of standards, sent out a form to basically everyone in the sorority that was like, on a scale of 1 to 5, how do you feel like certain issues are being handled? And it was like a 20-ish question form, but basically each question had something about feedback, and then our VP of standards summarized some of like main issues our sorority was going in terms of like racism, homophobia, like all of that. Like, so it'd be questions about that, and then it'd be like a scale of 1 to 5. How do you think our sorority is handling it? And then also our VP of standards has a committee that is like each person on the committee is responsible to reaching out to another person, like another sister, and then every sister has like one person on the committee like that they're responsible, like a committee member is responsible for a sister, and everyone's being talked to see if their like concerns are being handled and like what we as an e-board can do in order to like make sure that everyone's being heard and they feel like everything's being addressed. So I think that's something that people could do at a chapter level to also keep conversations going. And we were also talking about a sisterhood event where it's not really like a show and tell, but like to start out lighthearted, we bring in like something from our culture, because I know that our chapter, we're like 20 something people, but we're fairly diverse, but it's just like there's small cultural differences that we all just don't know about each other. So we're thinking like to do a small show and tell would help kind of everyone understand each other a little bit better. And I think like that's something that we could do at the chapter level to kind of talk about diversity and keep these conversations going.
So what I want to say at this point is I concur with Christine. Christine says kudos to those chapters that are ahead of the game. You know, this discussion is necessary. Now let me share something else with you. Since we all virtual, guess what? You all can cross collaborate with each other from other chapters and share the wealth, share knowledge, right? Do events together. How about that? Do events together. It's easier. And so, and let me share something else too. The reason I stated this on Thursday, one of the reasons, primary reasons that I became a sister of Phi Sigma Rho was because I wanted to make sure that everyone was represented. So if a Black woman ever wanted the opportunity, or the alternative to join Phi Sigma Rho, they could see that there is a woman of color that is one of the founders, because I wanted people to understand that this sorority was for all women that had the appropriate major, right? So already understood, but I wanted, this, what I mean by already understood is that it was already understood that there are not a lot of minorities in the major given, right? But then if you look at it at a wider lens, there's not a lot of women in the major either. So what a better way to collaborate and share strengths and just be sisters based on the first premise is that, we have something in common, that we're technical women. Okay, and then we're sisters. So what I wanted to do was make sure we have the discussion. And the reason I wrote the poem was because I remember how I felt, even at attending conferences most recently. People at times forget that I'm even sitting there. And, if I feel that way, then think about how others might feel. So, because at the end of the day, we're talking about equality, right? We want to make sure that we are not excluding a sister based upon the color of her skin, just because I can't take my skin off, I can't. But we want to make sure that we're being very intentional with all our sisters and being collaborative and having a forum where we can all breathe and exhale. But in order for me to exhale with you, I have to feel comfortable that I can trust my whole self with you. So that's the whole premise, right? But I want us to, and the conversation is wonderful. I'm appreciative of all the work that's starting, but again, we need to continue and move things forward. Let's work together and let's think about what wonderful things we can create from being collaborative. Who's next?
I wanted to say something too. So I had the idea of maybe, I don't know if every chapter has its own like diversity and inclusion chair, but for the ones that do, maybe have like a regular meeting with either together to collaborate on ideas, or even have Mary come in and maybe just facilitate the conversation or ensure that everyone is doing their job and putting on events. And it doesn't have to be an every week thing. It could be an every month thing, or, just once a semester type thing at the beginning of the semester to set out your plan and what your plan is as the director, as the diversity and inclusion chair, to make sure that everyone's being held accountable in terms of their positions.
Thank you, LaDeja. That's excellent. Because that's in essence what I'm here for. It's now 2:36. Let's keep the conversation going because I know there's some more questions, right?
Right. But this is really good work in what you guys have been doing and what we've said so far. LaDeja, could you go to the next slide? So this next question was how to best avoid / recover from burnout due to fighting for equality. And this one is a really important question because it can happen with people being an ally, and can happen with those who are fighting for their rights and the injustices against them. And from those two sides of it, from the minority side of things, burnout tends to happen many times and quite quickly and rapidly because you get tired of having to explain yourself over and over again. And the best thing that I can say to do is to take a minute to check out and just be with yourself. And because, when you're talking to people, you have all this influx of information and opinions and things like that, but you need to take a moment to disconnect and remember your own views and your own values and to reaffirm those again before you have to go back out and fight against people and their wrong opinions all over again. Because let's be very frank, that's a draining thing to do. And especially if this is something you're encountering on your campus every day, it's like every time you step out of your dorm, it's a little battle that you have to go through. So that's from the minority side of things. From being an ally and how you can help, the best way to avoid burnout I would have to say is along the same lines of take a minute to remember why you're doing this. Because you're not an ally because, you know, it's convenient or it's the trendy thing to do. It's literally because it's the right thing to do. So you have to take a minute to remember that it's hard because it's right. If it was going to be easy, you know, there's something a little bit wrong with it. It's not quite going the way it should be. But I just want you all to know that, you know, you have your sisters as resources too. You know, you can text us, you can call us, you can DM us on Instagram and ask us, you know, have you been facing this trouble talking to people too? Because 9 times out of 10, you're not the only one suffering through the problems that you're experiencing. So definitely opening up to other people within the sisterhood to talk about this is an important thing too. And if anybody had anything else to add.
This is Abby. I just wanted to say one way to fight burnout is to hear of things that are positive that are going on, ways that we actually are, ways that we're winning, or ways that positive change is occurring from the things that are happening. So it's important to have, that's why I like the idea of having a resource place where we can say, hey, look, there's legislation that actually got pushed through in this city or this area or whatever, because it kind of gives you that boost to say, hey, it's not all in vain.
And Abby, that's really good, you know, and just like we said last Thursday, we're all humans, right? And that's the biggest thing to always remember. We're human. Just like we bleed, you bleed, we bleed. And, you know, your concerns, we have the same concerns. And at the end of the day, there's more things that we have in common that we have that separate us. So I agree with you. Let's celebrate the small wins. Let's celebrate. We find opportunities to celebrate each other, right? And so we can, it's easier to bridge the gap right there, because what you probably think is a gap is probably not a gap. It's just that we've chosen not to extend ourselves and be vulnerable with each other. I hope that helps.
And really fast, if anybody is confused about like what burnout is or how we get to that, this is definitely the time to ask.
There's 70 people on this call, and I can't believe people don't have anything to say. Let's keep moving forward. Maybe the questions will come later.
Okay, so this kind of ties into what was going on before. What are some things we can implement in our chapter to promote anti-racism? If no one has anything else to add, we can just keep going from there.
Hi, Angelica. I have something to add to that last slide.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm Francesca. I'm the Gamma chapter president at the University of Dayton. One thing my e-board and I have talked about is during our chapter meetings, because we meet every Sunday, is to include a slide or something to educate ourselves on different issues surrounding like racism, but also like anything diversity, anything social justice. So like we can teach ourselves how to be allies.
Francesca, that's excellent work. And like we said earlier, any way that I can be of a resource, please let me know so we can help, you know, further the discussion, you know. So that's a really good opportunity there. Have you all had any meaningful discussions come out of these meetings that you've had?
Yes, we've had, I've actually been texting my group as we've been listening to this conversation. So we're like, we haven't created a diversity and inclusion chair, so maybe we're thinking about doing that, or at least having someone participate in the discussions that in our chat's been going on, like the national discussion. But also we've also focused on like environmental issues too. So kind of expanding just beyond race to see like how can we as a chapter focus on new things.
That's a great start. And considering this, like everything that's going on right now is definitely an excellent time to like branch out to see what more can the chapter do, since we're all working in like this unique environment of being at home. So it's definitely a good idea.
Hi, this is Madison Bellier from the Alpha Tau chapter at Northeastern University. In beginning of July, we had our diversity and inclusion director lead a town hall for our chapter. And from that, we came up with the ideas to have our own Google Drive folder with resources and also start a book club where they're reading White Fragility right now. And we also thought it could be fun to host movie nights similar to what they're doing this conference. So we actually already watched Hidden Figures and had a discussion about that as well. We found it's been pretty productive to incorporate diversity and inclusion discussions with our sisterhood events, just to kind of incorporate it more in everything that we do rather than just having like specific diversity and inclusion events on the side, if that makes sense.
No, that's really great. How have they been going?
It's been really good so far. We're hoping to get even more engagement once the fall semester starts, since like at our school, people are kind of on co-op and things right now. So there's a bit of like a gap, but we've actually had a lot of participation and the conversations have been really positive so far.
Anybody else want to share? You guys have like actually been coming up with really great stuff like on the side, and that's just amazing to hear.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
I'm Tyler Meeks. I'm the president of the Kappa chapter at University of Arkansas. And I just remember in February and March, we did, I did like Black History Month. So every chapter I would introduce a Black inventor or engineer or Black woman that made a huge difference in like the STEM world. And so I think that was pretty interesting. I think a lot of people thought it was like a good education process. So I think that can be a good thing that other chapters might be able to implement.
I think it's a really good idea. Maybe like once a month or things like that, like people can have a spotlight that just acknowledges all minority women and, you know, their big, that's a really good idea, their big contribution.
Hi, I had a question.
Yeah.
I'm part of the e-board at the Alpha Theta chapter at UC Berkeley. Earlier this summer, our e-board wanted to have the chapter have more conversations about these topics, and many of our active members expressed interest, but when it came to actually like having this discussion, many members did not feel comfortable and seemed a little less engaged. So I was wondering if anyone wanted to share tips on getting more people involved, especially because I know these topics aren't always comfortable, but that shouldn't stop them from getting involved, right?
Yes, that's
Hi,
absolutely right. Oh, sorry. Keep
Sorry. So my name is Snay. I'm from the Rutgers Xi chapter, and I know I think early June, I guess we wanted to push conversations. So we actually had one of our e-board members send out a Google form that could have been completely anonymous, and sisters were able to fill out anything they had questions about or anything they wanted to discuss, but were a little uncomfortable just bringing up directly. And I think, and also the fact that we were already on break and we weren't like seeing each other in person, I think also that kind of made it a little more difficult to talk about. So as she would get input in the Google form, she would bring it up in her group chat, and then sisters could contribute to what they thought and then kind of have those conversations, which I feel like was helpful. So maybe you could try that out.
I saw in the group chat, Ashley Cummins said something very, very great, and I wanted everybody to hear it. She says, during the MEM-Ed process, make sure to educate candidates with diversity and inclusion, with friendship being one of our core values. Being inclusive should be a main focus with new members. And Ashley, you're exactly correct. Kudos.
And kind of going back to Sun's initial questions, like the key thing to have those discussions is to kind of disarm everybody. And the reasons that people might be uncomfortable with having those discussions might stem from a lot of things. So it's important to just, reach out to them as the president and try to figure out, what specifically might be blocking them and how you could best improve that situation and make those individuals more comfortable. I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
LaDeja, you want to go to the next slide?
So this one, this is a quarantine bingo because I noticed that people were having, a little bit of trouble opening up. So to kind of disarm you all, I wanted to have something that we could all, mutually relate to because we're all going through this right now. So from each one of these things, once I read them out, if you have experienced this, whether if it's a positive thing, I'd like you to explain like maybe the benefits that you've had from it. And if it's a negative thing, I want you to possibly discuss how you feel like you could get over it. And then we can all offer our input on it afterwards. Does that sound cool with everybody?
Yeah.
Great. So the first one is tried meditation. I know I personally cannot participate in this conversation because I tend to have a brain that as soon as I try to sit down for quiet, there's 100 things going on at once.
So my name is Olivia Paganelli. I'm a alumni from the Ohio Northern chapter. I have not specifically meditation, but mindful thinking. I've definitely tried that. There's an app I use. It's called Calm, and like it plays like bedtime stories and stuff to kind of like relax your mind and think about the day and like kind of put you in that calm state of mind. And it's definitely helped me with, I have anxiety, and then on top of that, like quarantining and COVID and all of that. So my mind likes to go a million miles an hour. So definitely positive.
I've heard of Calm. Is it free or do they like make you pay?
You could try it for free, but then like to access everything you have to pay.
Oh, okay.
But personally, I pay for it and I think it is well worth it for my state of mind.
I might have to try it because I see the ads every time I'm on YouTube. I always hear it.
I love it. Yes, it helps me sleep when my brain is on crazy.
I'm hearing Calm, Headspace. Okay, so I'm definitely we're gonna try this again. I'm gonna let you guys know how it goes. Someone said 10% happier. Can you describe what that one is? 'Cause I've never heard of that app. Or is it like the same idea?
It's a really similar idea to the other ones, but it was created by a news anchor that had a panic attack on air, and he went to like all these different meditation gurus, and he like learned about like why you should do meditation. So it has like courses on like what meditation is and like why you should do it and why it's beneficial for you. And then also it has like the guided meditations that like the other apps have, like Headspace and Calm.
Okay, so definitely look into all of these, and I'll thank you guys for your suggestions. I'm definitely gonna look at these to myself. And the next one is fell asleep on the couch. So I will confess, this definitely involves me.
I swear my bed is the couch now.
No, literally, I'm in the middle of like a Netflix binging session. And next thing I know, it's like 3 a.m. and I'm still on the couch. Like, oh, maybe I do have a bed. Let's go there.
What I'm finding is that my couch is not made for sleeping. It is just not. Because I was trying to do that yesterday, and I was like, oh, I got to get rid of this couch because it's not It's not made for sleep, and I almost fell off. And I was like, oh, this is not going to work.
Somebody said, yep, I moved last month, but the couch is the only thing I could get a good nap in. And someone said, I got a job during quarantine, but before then, I used to couch nap all the time. Okay, I might be crazy here, but I feel like couch naps, when you wake up, you feel a little bit more fresh than you might feel in your bed.
You think so? I wake up worse. Maybe because I take like 3-hour naps.
I wake up from my couch, I feel like a brand new person.
Me too.
And the next one is they read an entire book. Can't say that I've done that one yet. Confession. Someone said yes. Please tell us what book you read. Olivia said she was
hi, my name is Karina. I am from the Upsilon chapter. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, cool. And so I recently got this really cool app called Libby. And it's kind of like an ebook app, and it has ebooks and audiobooks free from your library. So I've been reading just a bunch of like YA novels, like Crazy Rich Asians. I just finished that one. I'm reading one called The Proposal. I'm also reading To All the Boys, since I recently watched the movie. So I highly recommend that app because everything is free there. It's awesome.
Okay, and you said it's called Libby, so I'm definitely going to look into that one too. Y'all are giving me a bunch of apps to look into. I'm excited. I hope my phone has enough space, but I'm excited. So
Yeah,
the next. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. I also got Libby, and I read. I call it The Subtle Art. It has a longer term. It has a longer name. It's by Mark Manson. It just has an expletive in it. So I don't want to say it. It was really, really good. Also, Girl Wash Your Face is also a great one for like if you ever have like anxiety, if you are like have a severe lack of confidence. She does a really good job of talking about it.
And it's called Girl Wash Your Face by who?
I forgot the author's name.
Okay. I'm sure I'll find what that is. I've never heard a title like that. So let's see. Oh, Did Spring Cleaning. So I did do spring cleaning personally, but did it last? No. I did do it. Anybody else?
I was the same way, Angelica.
Yeah, that's a never-ending process at my house.
I had to move out of my university housing, and everything just kind of ended up in a large pile in my room, and it hasn't moved.
I definitely feel that it took me until about June, July to finally, settle down and unpack everything, stop living out of suitcases.
And we are down to the last 4 minutes of our time together.
Oh no.
Okay,
Well,
so it looks like the sharing for the books is really a hot topic right now. Okay, Madeline says she has a question. Ask your question,
Yes.
Madeline.
Hi, I'm part of the Zeta chapter, and we just implemented a diversity and inclusion committee, and I was just elected diversity inclusion chair for that committee. I am a POC, but I don't have a Black heritage, and so I was wondering how I can safely teach that perspective, even though I don't have that perspective, if that makes sense.
Some of the question. And Angelica, did you hear, or LaDeja, did you hear her total question? Because on my side it broke up.
Yes, she said that she recently she's recently been appointed diversity and inclusion chair for her own chapter, and she wants to be able to properly speak about the Black perspective, even though she herself isn't Black, but she wanted to know how to properly educate people about that. Did I get it right? I'm sorry if I didn't catch
You did,
the whole question.
absolutely. And I have been doing research, just independent research. I totally know that's not nearly enough, but I was just wondering if there's anything else that I can do.
Is there an African American Studies department on your campus? That's what it was called when I was in school.
Yes, there is. You can actually get a certificate through them.
But you know what? What you might also want to do is bring somebody in from the campus, you know, one of the professors or someone like that, to come in and talk to Phi Sigma Rho on a topic. They're experts. They're there for a reason, right? And I'm sure they would be overjoyed to even have that audience.
Okay, thank you. That's a really great suggestion. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it takes the work off of you. Okay, we're at 2:59.
Okay.
Again, we knew this time was going to fly by, right? So if you have any questions, right, let me give you my email address. It is, let me find it. Oh, I don't remember it, but I think it's diversity@psr.org. Somebody check me on that. I had it written down, I've just lost it. But in any event, yeah, make sure you contact me. There it is. Thank you, Gabby. I was diversity@phisigmarho.org. Because I have so many titles, it's hard for me to keep up. Because we want to continue the dialogues, I am going to solicit people to work on teams so we can continue this work. Again, thank you so much for the dialogue, and thank you for being willing to participate in the conversation, and the conversations will continue. Angelica, thank you so much. You and the rest of your sisters for being such troopers and helping me work on this initiative. I couldn't do it without you. Okay, it's 3 o'clock. You guys, have a good afternoon. I've got to go back to work. Thank you.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
everybody. Thank you.